audience may address the board. Don't have any? Oh, good. Okay, approval of minutes for June 5th, 2025. Motion to approve the minutes of June 5th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Yes. Ms. Turner Birch,
Yes.
Mr. Akins,
Yes.
Ms. Boynton,
Yes.
Ms. Macklin.
Yes. Award presentation. Glendale PBIS.
Thank you, Ms. Macklin. Board Vice President Macklin, Superintendent Johnson, board members, thank you for giving me the opportunity to recognize Glendale Elementary. As many of you know, I believe it was June of 2021, the state of Ohio mandated that all school buildings have a PBIS program. And part of that program is schools can be recognized as a bronze school, a silver school, or a gold school. And that consists of the buildings meeting a lot of expectations. There's a tiered fidelity inventory that buildings have to take, and it really helps to determine what schools and what staff are doing to implement PBIS consistently in providing support for students, rewarding students for the positive behavior, and that is across all school settings. And so this year, for 23-24, Glendale submitted their application at the end of the school year. We found out in January of 2025 that they are the first Bedford City school to be recognized as a PBIS award winner. So they did receive the PBIS Bronze Award from the state of Ohio. So I'd like to present that to Ms. Seawick on behalf of Glendale Elementary and her students and staff. Ms. Seawick, would you like to?
Yes, so PBIS is something that has always been very near and dear to my heart because I feel like 99% of our behaviors are positive, and we hold our students to very high expectations, but also have to drop the expectation, especially in the primary level of what they do know. So we work them through a lot of problem solving, restorative practices, just ensuring that we meet their needs and make sure we make it very impactful, that their presence in the classroom is important and we need them to be there because there's a lot of great learning to do. The thing that has pushed us forward in PBIS for Bedford, I believe, is the hard work our team has put in. Angelique Lipford kind of led that work last year, so I really hoped she would be able to come and receive this award. But on top of that, Andrea Holtz and Meg Ryan are our team leaders within our building, and without them, a lot of the systems wouldn't be in place. So I am there to support them and guide them through the TFI and kind of help enhance our programs. So we used to use roar punches when I first arrived at Glendale, and we transitioned to Class Dojo so that those points are not only being recognized by the students, but they go directly home to the parents too, which help build the rapport and understanding that we see great things about your kids every single day. This year alone, which is our first year, we sent home 41,000 points directly to parents and students on top of 770 70 positive referrals that we then give the kids certificates and possum keychains so they can display how possum they are each and every day. But a lot of that work comes with the teacher buy-in. So I think with Class Dojo, it allowed the teachers to hold themselves a little more accountable to send those points home, because I think it helped them see building rapport with the parents. So when they do have difficult behaviors or moments within their classroom, it makes that communication a little more easy to kind of navigate. See all the things that we are doing and we recognize your students are doing, but here's a little hiccup, and it just kind of builds that relationship and rapport. It goes a long way. So I'm very proud of Glendale and their achievements. We did apply for silver this year too, so I'm hoping in the fall we hear back from there. But I don't think we're even that far from achieving gold too, which is supporting our tier 3 students with building like FBAs to kind of really pinpoint what the behaviors are, what are the antecedents, and then how can we help those students through so that they can become lifelong learners. So thank you.
Great work. I know every presentation that Glendale does, you always emphasize on the positive side and approach to challenging behaviors or actions from children. And I think that is the best approach to make anyway, and clearly it's been obvious. So I appreciate all that you have done with supporting that. Once again, looking at Maslow before blooming, and you have really done that work. So great work. I just wanted to just mention, because everybody doesn't speak education language, but FBA is a functional behavior assessment. So I just wanted to make sure that for purposes of layman's. But good work, good job.
I would just like to say congratulations. It takes a lot to get that bronze award, and I want to just say kudos to the teachers for building those relationships, because for those behaviors to improve or to be at this level and the different strategies that are in place, your teachers have to be actively involved in that. So I want to commend them as well as the students.
Yeah, well, on that too, like our behavior data from last year, we've decreased 51% of behavior referrals that make it to the office too, and that speaks volumes to the buy-in of the teachers and they're supporting their students within the classroom and making sure that they're accessing very little harm.
Thank you.
I want to congratulate you, Principal Seaweek, and as well as your entire staff, because for that record that you just mentioned, that just shows that this was an effort that went throughout the entire building. They all, not just the teachers, but probably just everyone, the paraprofessionals, the security, everyone probably worked to help the students get to where they are, to help behavioral issues lessen and get to that award that you received. So it was well deserved, and I feel very well that you're going to get another award this year as well.
I just want to thank you. I have two granddaughters that go there. One is really, really severe behavior. But since she's been there, she's really calmed down a lot. And I just think that Glendale has done so much for her since she's been there. And I think they will continue doing great with her and all the other students. So thank you so very, very much. Okay, we'll move on. 5.02, transportation.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephanie Tabor. I'm the Transportation Supervisor, and I am here today to discuss the driver shortage and parent zone updates. Bedford High School was previously at 2 miles for the parent zone. They will be going to 2.5 miles. Heskett is previously at 1.5. They will be at 2. Carrollwood was previously at 1 mile. They will be at 1.5. Columbus was at 1 mile. They will be at 1.5. Glendale was previously at 1 mile. They will continue to stay at 1 mile. Central was at 1 mile, and they will stay at 1 mile. The XL program, which is housed at the high school, the students from 6th to 8th grade, they will have the 2 mile, and the students, the 9th to 12th graders, they will be at the 2.5 miles. By eliminating 12 bus tiers and routes and tiers are the same thing, so each school is considered a tier. So by eliminating 12 bus tier routes at several schools, we'll free drivers to serve other routes more effectively. We will also combine select routes to reduce bus deployment, and transportation expenses. In light of the ongoing driver shortage, these adjustments will allow us to better allocate our drivers, ensuring coverage, improving efficiency, and controlling cost. Do you have any questions?
So, what were these distances based on?
Well, I would just like to, jump in. One, I want to, if I could thank you,
Yes.
Steph, because I know that since you've come in, she's been doing a lot to kind of get us back on track, and make sure that the kids that should be on the bus are actually on the bus, and that we're doing the best we can to get new drivers recruited and trained, due to the bus driver shortage everywhere. But as Bedford City School District, we went through, we just had our audit.
Yes.
And one of the things that I believe came out was, we are well, above the state minimum. And as a result of that, not only is it impacting our budget, but it definitely is impacting the fact that we cannot keep up with bus drivers. So that is why the shift there is. I mean, I know some districts I saw in the news, they're just like, we just can't do busing. I don't feel like we're there yet, and I know that that also directly impacts our babies getting to school in general. So this is kind of a compromise that we're recommending to the board, to make a shift in the policy a little bit, not impacting our primary buildings. We feel like as we consolidate, we'll also be able to have some cost savings there. We'll present that to you at that time. But right now, she's asking that we make a tweak in the policy right now, which is stating the 2 to 2.5 and so forth. That also will impact, I think, our out-of-district, because will that also impact our drivers
Yes, we-
going to private schools, which is very, very costly, because now they will be held to the same standards. And that's where a lot of our cost goes, because we do bus high school. A lot of districts that don't bus high school, but we still do. But as a result of that, we are required to also bus high schoolers that do not attend Bedford City School District to several private schools.
So the updates came out the audit. That's the answer. to the
Partly,
question.
yeah, partly in the fact that we just don't have drivers. So auditing is about fiscal and our written plan and things of that nature. So coupled with that and the fact that we don't have enough drivers, this would permit us to also save costs. We do a lot of out-of-district, transportation, private transportation, by us being able to reroute. I appreciate you, Stephanie, for giving us the cost savings there for the private transportation for some of our students that have been identified and going to out-of-place locations. Now, our own bus drivers will be able to drive them.
Stephanie, I have a question. Do you
Yes.
have a number? You may not have it now, but maybe later you could share with us the number of students that will be affected by that
Oh,
change.
absolutely.
going from-
So for the high school, it's approximately 58. Heskett, 134. Columbus, 141. Carrollwood, 28. Central, 51. Glendale, 17. Now, keep in mind, for Central and Glendale, these are the students that already had the 1 mile. So these are the same babies, and possibly a few more or a few less than we already had this previous year.
So we didn't change anything there.
Right,
It's
nothing was
just- sounds
changed.
like there
That's
were
the
some
same
people that
number, the
shouldn't have
same
been on
amount.
there.
On the bus.
Right, those are
Yeah,
the ones
that's
that
Shouldn't have
yes.
been on the bus, but
Yes.
they were on the bus.
Yes. And just to give you like a, Danielle, for you to have like a cost savings, for example, this is just one tier that we could take over for like a van service, private services that we offer. Just for the one, an estimate of 140,000 is what we could be saving, and that's just for 5 kids that we have
On that
van.
currently.
Right, so we're looking at possible others. We'll know more after we get our dump and we get our routes going. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
We go to 5.03, spring athletics.
Yeah, it's not a height joke. I just need to move this. All right. All right. Evening, everyone. Members of the board, thank you for having me. For those of you that do not know me, my name is J.C. Commander. I'm the athletic director here in district. And what I'm going to do is go through our successes. I like to call them our wins for spring athletics. I'd be remiss if I did not mention the people who kind of manned the department with me, starting with Assistant Athletic Director Dan Brinson. I call him the most popular man in Bedford. Went to school here, now works here. Our athletic department secretary, Miss Heather Layton, and our athletic supervisor, Miss Renee Gardner. So the four of us together, I feel like we make a great team and we manage to get a lot done. So without further ado, I'll get started. So softball, total of 22 athletes. I'm gonna do this. I don't like looking down, I'm gonna do this. This is better. All right, so 22 athletes, led by head coach Christy Browning. I know the conference, the record does not necessarily look very impressive, but again, to see the growth from last year to this year, taking third place in our conference, you can see our all-conference award winners. Emma Davison, who was only a sophomore, Yonda Lees, Amaria, and then Morgan. The girls made a ton of strides. Most importantly, Coach Browning was Coach of the Year for the Lake Erie League. So I think that in itself is a thank you. That in itself is a win for us. Big off-season plans for this group. Of course, they've talked about going down to Florida. They're already on my neck about, we need to go to Florida and play. So I one step at a time. So what we're going to start with is getting them going a whole lot earlier. I don't want to say a lot because they were getting after it in February, but again, with the spacing thing, we have taken a look at and have had conversations about fundraising with the coaches about maybe getting into some type of indoor facility. For example, I know we now have AMP, which is over here, I believe, in Oakwood. Thank you. So we definitely want to maybe take a look at going there. There are some other places. I did have a conversation with a place in Twinsburg. I believe it's called Edge. Thank you. All right. Crowd participation. I love it. Thank you. So, but again, we're having conversations about ways to get them going earlier. So I will move ahead. Baseball, 24 student athletes. Head coach Nick Incarnato, great coach. Tremendously improved this year. 12-7, 8-2 in league play. For the first time since 2017, we want to share the league title. So again, that's a big thing for us. That's a big step forward. Very senior heavy team. I do need to take 30 seconds and speak on none other than Mr. Javon J.J. Hudson. First team, also league MVP. Alex Bartow, Danny Bridgeforth, Jacob Ringler, who again was a freshman this year, and then Anthony Daniels were all conference award winners. But Javon Hudson, to give you an idea, so this is me going into my third year. My first year here, he was MVP of the league for football, first team also. Basketball, he was first team. Now we're talking about his junior year. He just graduated. And then for baseball, he was first team. His senior year, he was first team football. He was third team basketball, and he was conference MVP in baseball. And you'll see later where he's going to be headed to school. But again, very proud of him and all of our student athletes. Season synopsis, we already bragged about that. Same goals for this group as for softball. I want to get them going earlier, get them into some indoor situations where they can start repping. Again, they're also talking about trying to go down south and somewhere like we, have all this money or a plane that we can just schedule to get them on. But we'll see what we can do. All right, co-ed volleyball. Again, this was our second year as an OHSAA sport with them. Prior to that, there was a club, 10 athletes. Coach Adamson, who new in 24-25, she was also our girls coach this year. They had a record at 6-7, but again, this was an improvement by 3 to 4 games for them. They even earned a home playoff game, which again went into extra sets, but we did not come out on top. Coach Adamson has a lot of plans for this group, including getting some camps and clinics going for boys at the middle school level. Again, not a sport that's often played that young by our young men, but there are opportunities out there for our young men to play volleyball, and we just want to make sure that they're aware of it. Yeah, we love football. Yeah, we love basketball, but there are other things that our kids can do and they can go be great at. So again, kudos to her on a great season. Moving ahead, Lady Bearcat flag football, 28 student athletes. Head coach Rondell Reed did a tremendous job this year. Got the girls sweatsuits. We had a donation. That was another presentation that we had here. Again, can't say enough about him. Coach Reed kept me busy this year because we hosted 2 different home events. One was a 15-team jamboree held right over here at Bearcat Stadium, where, the stadium was jumping. The lights were on. Girls had a blast. Crowd was rocking. It was a great event. And then we also actually hosted a playoff game, which we came up just 1 game short in that one. The winner of that game that we eventually lost would have advanced to playing at Cleveland Browns Stadium for the final round of the playoffs. So we have every plan. We have every intention of making sure we make it to the Browns Stadium next season. Again, with our young ladies, getting them going early in terms of weight training and football-specific skills. Very proud of this group of young ladies, though, because a lot of them did get after it early. Some of them got started as soon as December with the training and the getting in footwork and things like that. So I feel like we're only going to get better in that area. Moving on, track and field. Huge track and field program. I think that's accredited to the 2 names that you see as head coaches. Eugene Sanders has been our young ladies head coach for quite some time and has generated a lot of success with the group of girls. Head coach Marcus Green took over for the boys this year, and I saw a dramatic change in the amount of boys that we had on the team and the amount of success that our boys experienced. So we had a total of 14 student athletes advance to the regionals. So that's multiple relays. It was a 2 long jumpers. It was a high jumper and a hurdler. Darren Morrow, 300-meter hurdles, actually went to states this year. Again, came up short, but Darren is headed to school, and now I'm kicking myself for not getting that onto my next slide. So he really makes 10 senior student athletes that we have this year that are going to be heading off to school to compete. Season synopsis, our boys won the LEL. Again, with this group, getting them started early and getting them going quickly, because as some of you may or may not know, indoor track season is becoming a much bigger thing too here in the state of Ohio. All right. Moving on, I did want to mention this, again, another spot for me to brag. 155 student athletes competed in the spring. 84 of them were what we call academic All-Americans, meaning they had a 3.0 or better, which means 54% of our spring athletes had a 3.0 GPA or better. So the classroom, thank you. The classroom is I think that they've kind of gotten the indication that if Commander comes hunting you down, it's not good. So they don't like to see me. I like to stay in my office, but again, we're getting the message across to them that if you want to play, you got to do right. Moving on. So this is my biggest, I think, to say success for the department, coaches, and again, I'm 1 name short up here, and my apologies to Darren, who I found out maybe a couple days ago, he's actually going to go to a school in Iowa and run track. So there are 9 names up there. Last year we had 4. So Brooklyn Shropshire, who is going to play, we talk about opportunities for our young ladies to play football. She's going to Ursuline, where she's going to be a nurse, but she's also going to play flag there. Demarion Gordon, going to play football at Bluffton. Terrell Pollard, who was an all-state performer for our basketball program. He's going to Miami, Ohio, the Hamilton campus, which, for those of you that don't know, he's going to get a Miami of Ohio degree for going to school there. So it'll look the same on paper. That's what I told him. It's going to look the same on paper, bro. Trinity Pollard, full ride to Central State. Ali and Abdul are going to go play soccer at Tri-C. JJ's going to Bluffton. TJ Wooten, again, getting everyone to understand how important and what type of opportunity athletics can lend. TJ Wooten did not make our basketball team this year, but he was still good enough to go play at Bryan and Stratton, so that's where he's going. He didn't even tell me about that. I had a signing day and all that stuff, did something real cool. He didn't even tell me. So I found out after we did signing day via an Instagram post that he did. Hey, I'm going to, and so of course I didn't strangle him in the hallway, that would be inappropriate, but I did get upset with him in the hallway. I said, my guy, like, tell me you could have participated. So I did double back and got his picture taken in front of the backdrop and everything with his parents. And then Robert Pearson Hendon is also going to Bluffton. So I'm glad that that group of 3 are all going to Bluffton together. So again, we talk about the importance of athletics and opportunities in college. This is hopefully the start of what we call a pipeline between us and Bluffton. And hopefully people will see that pipeline and try to get in on it. we have tremendous athletes here. We have tremendous students here. I think we have tremendous coaches here. So I'm looking for this listed in my challenge. Now we need at least 11. So now I'm going to spend all year harassing kids and coaches about doing what they need to do so we can get more names. That concludes, oh wait a minute, I got one more. Sorry. Improvement, okay? We're going to continue to stress the weight room. We have a strength and conditioning program in place. Kids took a class. Adrian Clark, former Ohio State Buckeye, former Baltimore Raven, former New York Jet, former Shaker Raider. We don't hold that against him. But does a tremendous job with our kids in the weight room. 82% of the kids that took his class improved in 2 or more of their core exercises. So our kids are getting stronger, they're getting bigger, they're getting faster. So I'll take it. The plan with Adrian this year is to not have him worked into the school day. It's to have him here after school so that entire teams can now go in there with him and get bigger and stronger and faster and meaner, which in my book equates to us winning a whole lot more games and securing some partnerships with some businesses so they can give us a little bit of money. So that is athletics in a nutshell. Questions, please.
I don't have any questions, but I like seeing the data on the improvements from year to year. Seeing athletes being able to go to different schools, getting some money, getting some connection and exposure at that level. You know, seeing this at will, and I will say kudos to this class. I know firsthand and personally what it has done for students, and I have seen improvement in students that have taken that class. So I'm glad we have a former athlete who is able to train them properly, because one thing about getting kids in weight rooms, you have to have proper form.
Yeah.
And you have to have someone who's willing to really get in there and tell them what that looks like. So that's only going to be, once again, transferred into what we're building as a program, again, here at Bedford. So I really see the focus, and we'll be Bedford athletics like we were back in the late 90s and early 2000s. So excited to see everything that we're doing.
Thanks.
I have a question. Yeah. For the 25-26 school year, are we going to be still competing in the Lake Erie League, or are we going to be transferring to a different league?
So you asked the question I was hoping no one asked me. That's okay though. All right. So the Lake Erie League, so there was an article that went out. My name was in it. I did not make the decision. I was just a part of the decision, like every other school. So unfortunately, the league is going to be dissolving. What that means is all schools that were formerly members of the Lake Erie League are now going to be essentially independent. We have a lot of plans in the works for what we're going to do and what our next moves are going to be. I do not want us to stay independent, nor does Dr. Johnson, because I live that life at Brush, and it's very difficult because essentially your kids are now not playing for anything unless they win a district in most sports. So we love the opportunity to say, like, I'm standing up here all league. And again, I think that looks great on a resume when colleges come around and start asking about our kids. So the plan, we are working feverishly to come up with what our solution is going to be. I do want to say that for at least the 25-26 fall, winter, spring, we will compete independently. Now, from an opponent standpoint, we're pretty much going to honor, because a lot of those games were already scheduled, we're going to honor our current contest with the former LAL schools. But again, it is going to be tough, kind of a selling point for the kids, especially at the middle school level, because it's tough for them because there are no playoffs usually. Well, other than league. So, but yeah, we're going to get through it. I think we're going to come out stronger for it. And it really gives us an opportunity to, and this is how I look at it, I take on the challenge of, we want to continue to build and improve in areas so that when we do petition to join leagues, they see what we're bringing to the table. Because essentially, we don't want to be the school that's trying to apply and they say, well, you're really only good at basketball. We don't need that. We need teams that are good at baseball. We need teams that are good at volleyball. We need teams that are good at soccer. We need teams that are good at bowling. So we want to make sure that we cover all bases before we go knocking on somebody's door and saying, hey, can we play too?
they've been trying to get rid of the LAL for years and years, and they finally did it, so it's not really good for a school, some schools, because they will play smaller schools that have more, what I want to say, have more time and they're the smaller schools are in the sports. With the LEL, you play the same people, but now we're going to go up to people who we're going to have to play hard.
Yeah, don't worry, we will. I got it.
But they've been trying to get rid of the LEL for years and
Yes.
years.
Yeah.
So,
And with the,
I would just like to say, I want to commend you for focusing on the other part of how important sports is, and that's the academic part.
Thank you.
It is so nice to see that the 54% of our spring athletes has a 3.0. We're not at the minimum of what is required for them to play,
Yeah.
but where they are now, that's wonderful, and I'm glad that that is being still at the top of the list for
Yeah.
playing sports.
Thank you.
I was circling
Thank
back
you.
to the league portion. When we're independent, does that take away division status, or is that still based on enrollment? Okay,
Same thing.
okay.
All right.
And
Thanks,
now,
everyone.
of the schools that our children are going to, are those D2 or D3 schools? I know Miami's the only D1, but what are the other schools?
So, Ursuline, Bluffton are 3, Central State. I feel like.
D3.
And then Bryan and Stratton and Tri-C. Again, not Power 5 schools.
Right, but what about Bluffton?
Bluffton is a 3.
They're 3 too?
Yeah.
And I will say that, one of the conversations that we've had, actually with our partnership with Tri-C and their athletic director, you know, having conversations with our students, that it's difficult to make it to the next level.
Absolutely.
I mean, less than 1%. So if you can play at the next level in any school, you've accomplished a goal. Especially now with the transfer portal, it's making it very, very difficult. But the one good thing about our students that are going to a prep or a 2-year school, it no longer impacts their eligibility. So that when they're done, they still have the 4 years or whatever may have unless they're redshirt. So that is one good thing about some of the students, and I'm glad that they're taking advantage of it and the partnerships that you're establishing with Tri-C, Lorraine, Bryan, and Stratton, because before, some kids look down upon that. It's still a great education. And so those, you know, or even the branches of Miami or the branches of Ohio State, because those credits are going to transfer. So that's the one good thing that, you know, it's been great that our kids are listening, you know, to their teachers, and you've opened up those doors for them to start thinking about some opportunities that in the past they didn't have. And it's not just our males that I'm seeing.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay. 6.01, consent agenda.
turn it over to Dr. Johnson.
A motion to approve.
A motion to approve agenda, consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda as it's presented.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call?
Did you ask for discussion?
I did.
No discussion?
Okay. Ms. Boynton,
Yes.
Mr. Akins,
Yes.
Ms. Turner Birch,
Yes.
Ms. Macklin.
Yes. Board passed 4-0.
I typically will ask if there are any personnel, new personnel in the audience. I do not see any here, but we will make sure that they have that opportunity to be recognized. But as you can see, we do have multiple staff members that we're bringing on board to fill some positions. When during this time, it's very difficult to fill vacancies, but I really give much credit to Dr. Threet for the recruitment that she's doing and going, just having a lot of great conversations with the local colleges, universities, and just getting ahead of the game. So to find some of the positions here, like an ELL teacher, ASL teacher, I mean, those are very, very difficult positions to fill, as well as our speech and our OT positions. But other than that, I think we're good.
6.02, supplementary contracts. Motion to approve supplementary contracts.
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion.
Roll call, any discussion, no. Roll call.
Ms. Turner Birch,
Yes.
Ms. Boynton,
Yes.
Mr. Akins,
Abstain.
and Ms. Macklin.
Yes. Okay. 7.01, turn it over to Dr. Johnson.
Good evening. Good evening, Board Vice President, board members. This evening, I have multiple recommendations, as you can see. Under 7.01, we ask of your approval of the updates to the 2025-2026 school year calendar. We just wanted to be proactive considering some of the calamity days and things of that nature. And we were pretty close to the hours that are required in Ohio for our students to attend school. So we made some adjustments in our PD days and took some of those early release days away to have full days. So we just wanted our parents to know, and as a result, we have to bring that back to you to vote upon those changes. Under 7.02, I ask of your approval of the following administrative personnel items. Under 7.03, we ask of your approval of the following classified personnel items. Actually, that's down below. Under 7.04, we ask of your approval of the following items: service contracts for services serving our students in and outside of the district for related services. 7.05, we ask of your approval of the following service contract. This is for EMIS support consultation. Under 7.06, we ask of your approval of the following building permits. This is from previously, you had given approval for the Juneteenth activity to move forward. Under 7.07, we ask of your approval of the National Standards Compliance Report. This is something that we have to do every year for nutrition services. 7.08, we ask of your approval of the following resolution as it relates to the improvement project. This is the guaranteed maximum price amendment. Under 7.09, this is another one, amendment to the Panzica contract.
You want to take them all together, or you want to do them one by one? Any questions?
I think they should be separated.
Separate? Okay.
So you have to go.
Yeah, motion to approve
Yeah, they should be
7.01.
Motion to approve 7.01.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
I had questions. The coloring, how do you know which ones were the updated days? Like, I can't tell, I know the blackout is what's currently already there, so is it the red or the yellow or the blue? I
No, this is just a new one.
Okay, so
So-
what do the colors mean?
The colors, for example,
It's each semester.
like the yellow says end of end of the semester. The red are your PD days,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And the,
that's what it is.
yeah,
And the black is? the
just a
breaks.
non-PD day, but there's no students, but there are various reasons. There's like
The breaks.
yeah. Or like you have a records day that it states in the middle there, what each of the days mean.
That's the one.
So
no
basically,
school
we
for
took
students.
away the early release days before the vacation days or any of the non-school days like President's Day, MLK Day typically, well, not typically, but last year, they had early release every Friday before a Monday that was off. And that was taken away in order to give us more school hours.
Okay, what is the red 3 indicated in June 3rd? Oh, it's
Last
early
day for
release.
students.
Early release, okay.
So yeah, that's the last day for students in an early release.
That's the end of the school year. It's the best day.
Yeah, I'm just asking what, because it's not bolded red, but it's just a
It's just the
difference
last day
in
for
the
students.
in the number.
Yeah, that's the only early release day we have.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Yes. Mr. Akins?
Yes.
Ms. Boynton?
Yes.
Ms. Turner Birch?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin?
Yes. Passes 4-0. 7.02, motion to approve supplement administration personal recommendation.
Motion to approve the superintendent's administrative personnel recommendations as presented. Nobody
There's a
second?
Oh, second.
No, you can ask a question.
I figured out. Questions?
Any questions on this one? No questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Boynton?
Yes.
Ms. Turner Birch?
Yes.
Mr. Akins?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin?
Yes. Motion passes 4-0. 4 to.
Thank you. I really appreciate the support and the movement. We really kind of sat down and looked at where we are. We've had a lot of great movement at the high school. And we feel like not only is that because of the leadership that's there, but also because of some consistency, but having the right people in the right place at the right time. So I appreciate the support of the shifts and changes that we've made at Central Primary, as well as the new hires that we're bringing on. So if we have some new hires here, I'll ask them to stand, kind of recognize who you are and who you have with you today. Ms. Crawford, would you want to go first?
Good evening, my name is Linnea Crawford, and I will be the new assistant principal at Heskett Middle School, and this is my husband, Kermit Crawford. So I'm happy to be on board with Jefferson School District.
Thank you.
Welcome to Bearcat territory.
And I did forward the board your resumes and things of that nature, so they had some background knowledge. Dr. Schneider?
Good evening, everyone. Carl Schneider, I went to serve as the Executive Director of Operations. I just want to say how grateful I am to be part of this learning community and to serve under Dr. Johnson's leadership. I'm thrilled to be part of the positive momentum and hopefully share in the collaborative work, some of which we heard about this evening from Ms. Taylor, Mr. Thompson, and Mr. Crowder. Just humbled and grateful, and my commitment to you is to serve with humility, integrity, compassion, and tremendous work ethic. So thank you.
And who do you have with you?
I apologize, but Ms. here as well, she's also an educator, 22 years now.
Wow.
Special education teacher from our schools.
Thank you. I said, yeah.
First, I would like to welcome the two of you and everyone else that's listening that may not be here tonight. We're so glad to have you welcome you to the Bearcat family. You are going to love Bedford City School District. And I know that you're going to do well. We have a great team of people that you'll be working with. And so we're so glad that you came aboard, and welcome again.
Seven point zero four.
Oh, that's me, that's not.
Motion to approve employment agreement as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Ms. Boynton?
Yes.
Mr. Akins?
Yes, sorry.
Yes.
Ms. Turner Birch?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin?
Yes. Motion passed 4-0. 7.04, service contract.
Motion to approve the service contract as it is presented.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Oh, I'm delayed a little for a second. This cohort, this is the one that Armstrong was speaking of, to work with the BEAR program, previous meetings before, okay.
Yes. This is the fellowship that we were awarded for the Success for Autism program. And so these are the other individuals that have agreed to go get the training. So that all teachers in all the buildings will now get trained.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Yes. Ms. Boynton?
Yes.
Mr. Akins?
Yes.
Ms. Turner Birch?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin?
Yes. Seven point zero five. Executive Director of Academic Achievement. Motion to approve service contract as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Ms. Boynton?
Yes.
Mr. Akins?
Yes.
Ms. Turner Birch?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin?
Yes. Motion passed 4-0. Motion to approve facilities request as presented.
So moved. We have to approve it.
But you
It
can
has been
second.
already.
I can second?
Yeah.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Yes. Ms. Boynton?
Yes.
Ms. Turner Birch?
Abstain.
Mr. Akins?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin?
Yes. Motion passes 3-0. 3-0. 3-1. Okay. National Standard Compliance Report.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Turner Birch?
Yes.
Ms. Boynton?
Yes.
Mr. Akins?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin?
Yes. Motion passes 4-0. 7.09.
Eight.
8.
My glasses. 7.08.
Motion to approve resolution as presented.
Second.
Questions?
Yes, 7.8 and 0.8 and 7.09 are similar. And I just wanted to know if you could speak to the purpose of the amendment,
Yeah.
to show the cost difference. and whatnot.
So these, both of these resolutions are to approve the guaranteed maximum price amendments to Panzica's contract for the construction of the middle school, which is 7.08, and the new K2 building, 7.09. You may recall that in April and May, you passed similar resolutions for the early site contracts for both of those schools. These are the buildings themselves. So for the last month and a half, the bids were out for the construction of these schools, all the various trades. There were numerous bid packages out there. They were reviewed and evaluated. Then we had scope review meetings with all of the potential subcontractors to make sure they didn't miss anything, that they understood the scope of the project. I can tell you for both of these projects, based on the feedback I've gotten from Panzica and GPD, sorry, Russell, these contractors are highly experienced. They do the best quality work in Northeast Ohio. I feel very comfortable moving forward. When you say guaranteed maximum price, that is part of the construction manager at-risk process that is outlined in the Ohio Revised Code for school construction. And so basically, it's Panzica saying that as long as, that they're guaranteeing that this is what we're going to pay, there is contingency built in, and there could be change orders, but only for unforeseen circumstances that were not in Panzica's control. So, and I'll take any questions that you have, and I can answer questions for either one. We do have Chris Montgomery from Panzica with us, as well as Russell Gayhart from GPD Group. Thank you.
I think I asked what I needed to ask, and you spoke to the reason why there was a cost difference.
Yep.
So thank you for that. Can we take 708 and 09 together, or no?
We already
I think we gotta do them
We already
separately.
did separate.
A roll call.
Roll call, please.
Yes. Mr. Akins?
Yes.
Ms. Boynton?
Yes.
Ms. Turner Birch?
Yes.
And Ms. Macklin?
Yes. 709.
Motion to approve the resolution as presented.
Second.
Questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Boynton?
Yes.
Ms. Turner Birch?
Yes.
Mr. Akins?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin?
Yes. Passes 4-0. 8.01 Treasurer's Report.
Thank you, Board Vice President, Board members. Good evening. Tonight, first 8.01, I have my monthly report. It's the report that I produce the second board meeting every month. If you take a look, we are, our expenditures are $2.393 million less than last year at this point. And our revenues are higher, $2,007,912. We are, performing better than we did last year. All the cuts in the written plan is paying off. Our cash balance is, from last year, $228,000 higher than it was last year. We are still deficit spending, but like I said, we are making strides to get the right direction. And we are actually looking to be $1,141,000 higher than expected in the forecast. We did see a bigger increase in our threshold costs. Used to be the CAT cost. That's mainly thanking Marion Armstrong and Dante Colaluca for preparing that report and identifying more kids than we have in the past. So that's been a very good positive for us. The next presentation that I prepared, and Gary, can you put this one up for me? I'm gonna put those up there. So we've had questions regarding properties in Bedford Heights and just how it is zoned as far as us and Orange City Schools. So the second slide, this is the Bedford City School District school division lines. These lines were established 101 years ago. So Bedford was a lot different back then, but that's when these lines were brought in. And if you kind of look at that top right-hand corner, that's the properties that are in question. The next slide is Orange City School District, so you can kind of see that bottom left corner where the orange dotted line kind of dips into Bedford Heights. And then the last slide that I presented, I kind of blew that up, and you can kind of see the businesses that reside in Bedford Heights that is zoned into Orange City School District. Most notably is the Amazon delivery plant, the Coca-Cola distribution facility, and then you also have Lowe's, Winking Lizard, and a couple other businesses. So once again, these lines were established 101 years ago, back in 1924. Probably nothing but farmland at that point, but they remain that way today. And these lines are established by a combination of the county and the Ohio Department of Education. There really isn't much we could do without an agreement from Orange City Schools to bring these lines back to Bedford City Schools, which I don't anticipate Orange agreeing to bringing these properties back based on the significant values of these businesses and what they generate. So we can open the floor for a discussion about this, but I just want to kind of present the lines. It's a quick Google search can show the lines. It's not like anything that's hidden that you have to really dig into. You can just Google it and it'll display it for you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can the city of Bedford Heights
It
do
is.
anything?
So it has nothing to do with the city.
So it's all has to do with the,
Yeah. The city receives their share of these properties.
so they are receiving.
They do receive
See,
it
okay.
because their lines are different than our lines.
Could you tell why that happened 101 years ago?
Best guess, and this is just a guess, I'm guessing this was farmland. There might have been one or two properties, and at that time, there might have been a school closer to those properties that was in Orange than maybe in Bedford, so that's why the lines were drawn that way. But once again, that's best educated guess.
And is it true, and this is just what I've heard, please correct me if I'm wrong, because there are no children in that area that would attend the Bedford City School District, that the ODE will not,
It would make it harder
probably
for
for
us
us
to
to,
contest with no children residing in that area.
I just want you to know, this is a big discussion. At every meeting I attend or any function in Bedford Heights,
And that's why.
the school board needs to do something. The doing something is very costly and probably we wouldn't be very successful, is that correct? It just.
Unless Orange City Schools agreed to giving up the revenue, there's really nothing we could do at this point.
And we are talking about significant amount of money, am I correct? Is it true that it's about $1 million? More than $1 million? So, I know it's in my face every time I'm out in the community, and I just want this to go on record that we have looked into this,
Yes.
and
We have looked into it, and like I said, there's really not much we can do at this point to.
So my question is, you said we don't anticipate. So are you saying that we're just not gonna go to the table and talk to Orange, or has that conversation already occurred?
If the board would like, I could start with the ESC and talk to them and they could probably put in a formal, like, request with ODE. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere further than that, but we can do that piece.
I mean, whether
think
we
we should.
think and what could, but I would hate for us not to
Yep, no,
explore
absolutely.
something,
Absolutely.
even if it's a thought, because we just never know.
Mhm.
And I just think out of respect of jurisdiction wise, it's they're Bedford Heights companies. Bedford Heights is the district of Bedford City School District. I mean, I feel like this might be looking like Warrensville Beechwood situation going on. But I think it's something that we need to explore when you're talking about
So,
revenue and,
yeah, so, as Dr. Johnson said, that Lawrenceville Beechwood situation, there's kids involved, where here it's just strictly businesses. But we could still, like I said.
And that
That's the
is why this
difference.
discussion is so huge now in Bedford Heights, especially because they are looking at what happened in a neighboring district, but it is somewhat different. But I have been inquiring about, I didn't know how many years it's been, of course, I'm still young, and so I did not know about the number of years, so thank you for that.
Yes.
I just want to be able to share, and I'm glad that we're talking about it in this meeting. So when people are approaching, we have at least something to share the whys, and now that you're going to at least approach Orange, and I do agree that what school district's gonna give up that kind of money, without a fight?
or
You
could
know,
we even
just
do
it.
share costs?
Oh, yeah,
Can
well,
we-
that
like,
share
is there
cost is just.
something could we do a compromise or something? I mean,
So yeah, I appreciate,
talking about revenue for the district and what
Sounds
we
good.
need, and that's a district that their property taxes are way higher. They're gonna get more in their district off of the.
I just want you to look
income
at the
value
neighboring district
and
that you were
demographics.
talking about earlier, and that happened. It's the same, we look the same,
I know.
and the same thing for that.
I know,
district,
but I'm
you
just
know.
saying, that's why it should be, that's why we're saying it now too, and having this conversation, I think it's
Yes.
important because of the value of the dollar that we're also needing to kind of have here in the district as well. So I don't like leaving money on the table. If there's an opportunity to go and have a
We
conversation,
will absolutely do
let's have that
what
conversation.
we can to have those conversations. I do think, and I'm not defending anyone, but
Yeah.
with current legislation going on right now, every property, or every school district is really protecting the dollars they're getting because there's so many unknowns in the future.
That's a fact.
so yeah, I would say that, I appreciate you, Taylor, you just coming in right now and taking on a whole lot and this popping up, because unfortunately, it just seems like over the past 3 years, things that could have been resolved many years ago are now coming up. But I appreciate you being the first individual to take the stab at it and to share the explanation behind it so that we will all have one consistent response as to why, and what it is and how it was done. And I agree that, we'll then have that documentation of when the conversation happened and what occurred, and, so that the next, down the road, if this comes up again, that there'll be some history behind that
Absolutely.
conversation.
And that conversation this conversation that probably will be happening, will you be taking some of the city of Bedford Heights? Just curious. Yeah, I don't know how to start that.
I could,
or
I'll
some
start with
process.
the ESC, but absolutely, I could bring someone from the city of Bedford Heights. We can invest on our behalf as well.
Okay, thank you.
But like I said, the city lines have nothing to do with the school district lines, so.
Okay.
That
Yeah,
was good
cause I
to
know they vote. I mean, it's weird with the voting too.
Yes, I inquired about that as well.
And there's other
Unfortunately.
areas around this. This isn't uncommon. I believe part of Columbia Station, it goes to Strongsville City Schools. That's the first one that comes to mind, where it used to be a golf course and now they're doing housing
Houses,
development. So
yeah.
it's gonna be a very valuable piece of property at that point.
Okay.
8.02, this is an agreement with Spooner Incorporated for workers' compensation management and unemployment services. We are moving on from Minutemen. I believe I shared this in one of my reports, so this is the agreement for that. Resolution 8.03, this is establishing a blanket purchase order limit. The limit seems high for $1 million, but we have to incorporate things we do in food services with different vendors, also our health service, blanket purchase POs, and other things like that, utilities, so that kind of all encompassing takes care of all those as well. 8.04, this is the advance of general funds to various federal funds that we receive. It's a timing issue. We, our last project cash request that we could do for federal funds was in early June. Since then, we've had a payroll, we've done a couple more check runs, so those accounts are in the negative, which we cannot close the year based on Ohio Revised Code. So we moved the money from the general fund to that to make them zero, and then starting July 1, we move that money back to the general fund and we do a project cash request to recoup those expenditures. But we have to do this based on Ohio Revised Code. 8.05, this is transfer of stale checks to unclaimed funds. We've had outstanding checks up until December 31st of 2024 that we are going to move from the general fund to the 007 fund. They'll remain there for 5 years. Should someone ask about their unclaimed funds, we could then void and reissue the check for them, but we're just moving it out of the general fund. This should be done every year, and our checks say on it they void within 6 months, so that's why we chose the date of December 31st. 8.06 is the final appropriation, so we've closed out the books. These are the final numbers of our fiscal year. They are due to the county by June 30th, so I will send them off after this meeting so that we are in compliance with them. And then 8.07, these are the permanent appropriations. This is the budget that for this year. We will be bringing, I'm sure, supplemental appropriations to modify those budgets, but at this point in time, this is our, where we think we're going to be spending this year. I do want to note that this year, unlike any other, we have not received any word of what we're getting from federal spending. We're not panicked. We do know it's coming. It's just been delayed, so that's kind of an estimate that we might have to adjust early in August, whenever they release those numbers to us. 8.08, this is, we've been carrying forward identified reconciled items in our bank rec. These are items that are not in our accounting system, but with the help of Julian Group, we've identified these numbers, so we know these are concrete numbers that we've kept carrying forward. This is the resolution to finally get them off the books. We can do some accounting transactions, so that way our accounting system completely matches what's in our bank. So this has to be done with board approval. We could not do this without it. So now that we're in a comfortable spot and we've identified these, we just want to get them off the books. So moving forward, when we reconcile each month, we're not having outstanding reconciled items. And 8.09, we did receive a gift and donation from Carrollwood PTA, $420.75 for 5th grade promotion t-shirts. So we just want to recognize the Carrollwood PTA. That is my long list of items.
Now, I have a question on 8.05.
Yes.
The unclaimed checks, are these already going to general fund, or do they have a deadline to claim? I just want to be clear on that.
So these, we have a fund 007, so we're moving, right now, we have like outstanding checks, so we've issued checks to various vendors or employees, and they have not been cashed. So we're gonna move it from the general fund to the 007 fund. We need, in order to move from one fund to another, we need board approval. That's where they'll sit for 5 years. If anyone comes forward for those unclaimed funds, at that point, we can go in the bank and cancel out that check and reissue them a fresh check that they can then cash.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Get that clarified, because that's not going to state unclaimed funds, right?
No, that remains in our
Yeah.
accounts.
You thought they were building a stadium with it?
No.
That's going to.
They do not leave our account system, it's just a accounting transaction to get them out of the general fund.
Any more questions? We can take these all together. Or you wanna do one by one?
They can be all together.
All together? Okay.
So moved that we take, I make a motion, that we take 8.01 through 8.09 together.
Second?
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Turner Birch,
First,
Yes, I do.
Ms. Boynton,
Yes.
Mr. Akins,
Yes.
Ms. Macklin.
Yes.
there we go.
Passes 4-0. Okay. 9.01. For you, for us. Okay. OPSI memorandum of understanding.
Motion to approve the MOU, memorandum of understanding as presented. Sorry.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Boynton,
Yes.
Mr. Akins,
Yes.
Ms. Turner Birch,
Yes.
Ms. Macklin.
Yes. Delmar, you have anything you want to say?
We have to have you on record speaking, man, come on.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Officer Delmar Calhoun. I'm a senior officer for the district, and I'm also the OPSI president. I'm here standing before my group, Vice President Fonz Hudson, Secretary Chrissy Browning, and Treasurer Becky Rezzi. First, I just want to say thank you for passing this motion for the bus drivers. Y'all heard Stephanie's her troubles, what she got going on. So hopefully, Stephanie, this can help you get some more qualified drivers and be competitive with the other districts and things going on, so you can service our babies a little better. So this is a good day for OPSI, it's a good day for classified and board. I thank y'all for that vote, and definitely for the ladies in the cafeteria. This was something that they gave me as soon as I got voted in. I took it to Dr. Johnson, and immediately her and Taylor made it part of their business to get these ladies some more money. We had kids in our building that make more than our cafeteria workers, and it was crazy. Jean got some numbers, and I got some numbers. They presented them to Dr. Johnson, and she felt the same way I did as soon as she saw it. We could not believe what our cafeteria ladies was working, and they work hard. So now we have this will allow them to be more competitive. We get some more people with passion that care about our babies and serving them food. So again, I wanted to publicly say thank you to the board for bringing this up, and Taylor and Dr. Johnson, thank you for hearing my cries. Stephanie, thank you for coming to me. I appreciate it, and if anything I could do, board, I appreciate it, and thank you.
All right.
Roll call. Let me get up. 902, motion to approve the following board policies as presented. Second reading.
So moved. That's the second read.
You have something to say, Danielle?
I can't, there's a motion on the floor. So
She will after
I
second.
can't say anything unless it's seconded.
No second.
No second?
I just have a point of inquiry. Can,
Somebody needs to second, you're saying?
if somebody would need a second, or we can let it fall so that I can have a point of inquiry.
It's just a second reading, so.
It's the second reading, which is second.
It's second reading, and because it's supposed to be 3 readings, but it's not 3.
Oh, we're not doing it. Okay.
I think it's just the second reading.
It says an approval. So we can push
We
it to a
do,
third.
we got this second.
Yeah,
Okay, so can we let it fall?
Like the wording of it, can we do that now?
But we for table here.
We have to have a motion for that.
Yeah.
So can we let this fall?
Yeah, motion.
Is there anything in here that is sensitive?
Did you not get a chance to look at them, or you?
Oh, I
have it?
did. That's why I got
But
it.
you gotta still, yeah, have a second.
No, I know that. I was just wondering why. I know. Okay, gotcha.
Point of inquiry and clarification.
There's no second, so we'll take it.
falls.
It falls,
Okay.
yep.
So I have a point of inquiry. In the previous meeting, when this was brought up, there were several policies that I had questions of, but more specifically, it was 7440.1. And we agreed to have those specific changes updated. However, the full changes were not. And that is in option 2. Option 2, and scroll down under end of options, 7440.01.
01?
They produce
Yeah.
surveillance.
And the problem was with the surveillance, where it says security staff and administrators are authorized to carry and use portable video cameras when responding to incidents, and then including the board authorizes security personnel. So the second part was stricken, but the first part was not, which is the security staff and administrators are authorized to carry and use portable video cameras when responding to incidents. So that goes back to the use of body cameras.
So the whole thing needs to be,
Correct. Needs to be stricken.
yeah. We put that on the 10th.
Yeah, we put that out there.
Is it that we can just
So I make a motion, that we move to that we have a third reading. And that upon that third reading, that reading, security staff and administrators are authorized to carry and use portable video cameras when responding to incidents is stricken from this policy.
Did you have another one that you didn't look at?
No, it was
I remember
3, I
that
just
one.
was making mention that I had mentioned 3, but this one was the specified one.
Oh, I'm sorry. That wasn't for me to ask you that, but
No,
I know
it's still
we're on the
discussion.
policy committee, that's why I was just
Yeah.
wondering. Is there another one? There was a long discussion about that was considered a body camera, right?
We had a
I
whole
remember
conversation
that,
about it.
yeah. So just so you guys.
So that was
I
the
don't know if
motion.
you- No, I don't think we were even here at the other meeting when we discussed it at,
Yeah, 'cause
We didn't discuss this
but
portion
we
in
talked
the
about
policy.
some that we needed to further discuss
Correct.
at the work session.
Correct.
I remember.
Correct,
You
and
were
this
at the
was that
last
one.
Yeah, so that was the one, that was.
Yeah, 'cause,
Because
you know, I'm
Danielle was
confused, like,
pointing out that it's
what's
a
the
body,
issue with
it's
the
a body
body
camera,
camera?
but not.
The issue.
Yeah, what's the issue with having
So
body
I
cameras?
I drew issue to it because that is a form of policing our students. So it invades privacy. It also, I think, is once again, policing of our students. We're trying to not do that. That is not any, equity, driven in equity at all. It is not, even socially, emotionally appropriate that we are having security or administrators wearing body cameras throughout the day. The only thing that this thing makes exceptions for is in the bathrooms.
Well, it says they're only wearing it when responding to incidents, so it's only being used at those times.
That's why we have cameras around the building. We have multitude, we spent all that money adding new cameras and fixing the old cameras we have for blind spots and things of that nature. There is a camera everywhere. So I don't think as a board we should value the use of those. Once again, going back to policing and over-policing our students.
And I do want you to know that, Mr. Akins, during that discussion, it was duly noted that our security and superintendent do not have body cameras.
Correct.
Number one, we can't afford them, but we do not currently have that anyway, so I think that's why maybe that was in there, because we don't have them anyway. But, Ms. Turner Birch did bring it up, that it was a form of policing. It was never, it was a discussion with the policy committee. We, oh, don't tell me that. But anyway, and so we talked about it, but we didn't finish the conversation. She requested at the policy meeting that we remove that. And my point was, we don't have them anyway, so, and we most likely would not be purchasing them.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I'm saying we don't have them anyway, but I just personally don't see an issue with it if it's just for when you're responding to an incident. That's all.
So we will bring it back on the July 10th meeting to talk about it.
So I made a
don't know if we
motion,
need it
there's a
to-
motion on the
to
floor.
bring- Oh,
So it just needs to be seconded.
second.
Roll call?
So this is a motion to bring it back July 10th?
Yes,
We're gonna bring all of them back, though. We're not just bringing this
Yeah.
one back.
correct.
The
It'll
whole-
be a
So
third
it'll be a
reading
third
and
reading.
approval,
Well,
yes.
it'll be another reading, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But can I just say though, before, can I say something now? So if we don't, I mean, I guess I have a question.
Or you just wanna push the one?
I don't think you can separate this.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
okay. Shelley, roll call.
Did you say roll call? Did you say roll call?
I did.
Roll call, okay. Ms. Turner Birch,
Yes.
Ms. Boynton,
Yes.
Mr. Akins,
Yes.
Ms. Macklin.
Yes. Passes 4-0.
Thank you.
9.03, first reading of reverse board policies.
So revised policy. Revised policy.
Revised policies.
You're just looking at it.
Do we need a motion on it?
No, we're just gonna read and look at it. Make Stephanie happy. You can go to the next one.
.04, purchase of new building.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
Who's gonna talk about it?
So we can, yeah, we can talk
Thad
about it.
is here too.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't actually mind.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't mind.
I didn't know if you had specific questions about it, but, through the new facilities plan, and you can jump in or correct me if I'm wrong, originally the part of that plan was for the board office to be on the Chanel property site along with the middle school. But, you know, as we began moving the project along, and we began to looking at the cost, it was imperative for us to kind of do an adjustment. It would have been over, almost close to 5 million, if not 5 million, to build a new board office. And so with us not even starting, you know, building with the elementary or the middle school or high school, and knowing like in any building project, you never know what might happen. We have some contingency, but you just still never know. So we came to you as the board, and basically talked about, we have to look at other options, that are more fiscally responsible and make sure that we are leaving at most, the money towards our students in instruction when it comes to a new building project. Therefore, we began to search, you know, for places to go. We have to be out of this building within the next couple of months, because this is a part of the high school site. It has always been a part of that plan based on where we can build in the building studies. They cannot build on the other side due to residential, so it has to go on this side in terms of the new high school. To ensure that we stay on time, as, you know, we push things back, you know, the costs are gonna go up with inflation and so forth. So to stay within the time frame, it has always been communicated that the high school will be done the summer of 2028. In order for that to happen, the high school will need to start moving from the north side to the south side around January-ish at latest, which means we have to be out of here. So after looking around, trying to find some spots, the original plan was for us to try to move into building spaces until we found out the timeline for the high school for them to get out. So therefore, we can no longer move to the library, move to any open spaces on the south side. We have to get out, period. There is no other place. Some members might say, well, why not move to Carrollwood and make that a business office, or Glendale, or, well, there are children there. One of the things that was the non-negotiable for us to pass the bond was that we would not purchase any new property. We would not purchase any temporary trailers and waste money because we didn't need swing space, right? We already have the land to build on. So the children are in the buildings. So we can't go to those buildings and we need to get out of here now. So that is why we have found a property and we are in Bedford as a part of, again, the non-negotiables for the community to pass the bond. We promised them that we would keep buildings in the cities where they are. We didn't specify school buildings, we said buildings. Central office is a building. This contributes revenue to the city of Bedford, just like our other school buildings do. So that is why, if people ask us, well, why not here, why not there? We are in Bedford because that is a commitment that we made, was to stay in Bedford. There were only a few building sites that were big enough to accommodate everyone because we have to have registration come out, we have to have nutrition services come out, we have to have the technology department come out, in addition to all of the central office individuals. It is not as large as it had been. We have made multiple cuts to the administrative staff so that, save some space. But we also wanted to find some space that we could accommodate possibly some of the high school programming if necessary, because that would trim some cost in the new high school. So the new building will not just have the capability to house administrative staff. There is a side that can also house programming for our high school students. So we are just in the phase of trying to identify what program that would be. Long end of, now that's a long explanation, but I just wanted to make sure that there's consistency and transparency and alignment to what we've always said that we would do. And if there are any questions, just let me know.
I don't have any questions, but I know you already stated that the cost of a new one would be upwards of $5 million or such. However, where we landed with this, we would say is a good comp in comparison to either building new or trying to find another building and then having to renovate.
Yes.
Accommodate what we need of that value, so.
That's correct. Well, that's loud. So the new building is approximately 19,000 square feet, and the purchase price is $2.5 million. That is twice the building for half the cost of building new. The cost per square foot is approximately $132 a square foot, a little less than that. We could not renovate a space for that amount of money. It is move-in ready. As soon as we're able to close, we can move right in. It is a high-quality facility. It's only about 15 years old. And one of the neat little perks of it, it has solar panels, and so our energy costs are super low, less than $4,000 a year. So it really was kind of an alignment of stars that we were able to find this property, that it was available for us at this time, because we really don't have any other options. To delay the high school would cost an inflation for construction costs at least $3.5 million to delay that high school. So again, it is the most cost-effective solution we have. There really is no other place for us to go, and it moves our high school project forward. And in fact, because we might be able to put a high school program in there, it could even save money on the high school project itself by reducing the amount of square footage that's necessary.
And then most importantly, we're not impeding on the students and, once again,
That's
spending more
correct.
money for trailers or things of that nature. in
That's
the
correct.
jail.
Yeah, so we will be looking at a mid-year move for the high school, but that will be well coordinated in advance. And as far as, this building goes, it is, like I said, I believe it is the best of all options that we have available to us at this time.
And do we speak on where the funding is coming from?
Oh, yes, sorry, I did mean to mention that. So we did talk to our bond counsel and with Squire Patton and Boggs, and they did recommend that we use the interest dollars from our bond proceeds will help pay for this cost and will not negatively impact our project budget.
Nor will it be coming from,
It will not be coming from the general fund.
No general fund.
Yes, I mean, and that definitely has to be clear that we do not have, I mean, as you could see in the presentation from Taylor, we are doing everything we can to be fiscally responsible and make sure that we are meeting the expectations of the written plan that you approved, that we had to submit to the state. But again, through the bond, the board office was always a part of that project. And the language written into the bond was to support that project. Again, the good part of that is that it's also coming from the interest of the bond, which will also leave more money towards the other buildings. I think we had a presentation, was it the last board meeting, that it was shared, the good work that Taylor and Tad had done to get us some good rates and to ensure that we're getting the biggest bang for our buck as the money is gaining interest.
That's great.
Okay, roll call?
Yes. Ms. Turner Birch?
yes.
Ms. Boynton?
Yes.
Mr. Akins?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin?
Yes. Passes 4-0.
On an additional note, once this does go through and close, can we add this to a later presentation as to where the location is and what we're offering in that space and whatnot?
Yes, we'll have to make a very public statement because the address has to change. There's a lot of things that have to change. We have to send out, I think you had a great idea before about some communications that could go out, but we'll definitely make sure that we have the information go out everywhere because, again, the address is changing and a lot of the mail comes here for all of the district. Also, I just can't stress enough the whole bond piece because there's sometimes some confusion, about, bonds versus levies. And I just have to say over and over and over again, because we are not in a situation where we have money, and both of our unions and administration have taken some concessions in this very difficult time where school funding is really a hardship on public education. To stress that the money that we are spending for the board office or any of our buildings is not, operating money. We cannot use salaries, benefits, anything of that nature for this stuff unless, like I think we talked about before, Tad is 75% working on the bond and the facilities, but we are not permitted to pay for administrative salaries, any other salaries out of this money. It is for our kids so that they can have everything they need in 21st century plus facilities.
And that includes the interest we've been earning must remain with the capital projects fund.
Before we adjourn, do you have, anybody got anything else to say? She can ask that. Okay, no more. Okay. We're done.
Okay. 10.01, adjourn. Meeting,
Motion to
adjourn.
adjourn.
made the motion.
Oh,
Did
you
you have
made the
something to say?
motion? Oh,
I said
second.
motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Yes. Ms. Boynton,
Yes.
Ms. Turner Birch,
Yes.
Mr. Akins,
Yes.
Ms. Macklin.
Yes. Thank you for coming, and our next meeting